All he's doing is taking some of the money and move it around. We should not be interjecting and telling him how or not to give raises. If not, we don't know the facts. So that's the way I feel.
Why are we being asked to vote on this if none of this isn't, if we don't need to know the facts?
Well, hold on. Do we have a motion and a second?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
No, I'm asking a question though. What, how, why, somebody talk to me. Why are we voting on this if it's not, he has the authority to do it and we're not being given any details. So why do we have to vote?
Well,
I mean, does he, somebody explain to me, what does he need our permission to make these changes? Can he just do it by himself?
well, I mean, it is budget neutral. He's just informing us of what he's doing within his budget, but technically it's budget neutral.
In order for the payroll department to make this happen, they need to do it by resolution. If we get audited by the state, we have to have a resolution showing the transfer of the funds.
Well,
Kelly, I have a question, Kelly. Can we do this in executive session or we have to come out of executive session to do this vote?
We are not
We're
in executive.
session.
Oh, okay.
It did not pass to go into executive.
Okay. All right. That's
So we
fine.
have a motion and a second, Mike, on this resolution.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
nay. I just want to say something.
Hold on, Gene. Let's
Oh,
see
sorry.
if this even passed first.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have the majority. You have 2 against it. And you have 6 for it. So the resolution will pass.
Okay. All right, Gene.
Yeah. I just wanted to say this, that as an attorney and as an attorney who worked in a large law firm associated, that was with the Westchester County, I was with the Legal Aid Society, and it was a somewhat different situation than this, but I really do respect the right of the head of the office of the district attorney to make decisions with regard to staffing and hiring and firing. And so I really respect that. But now that I'm in this side of the table, I also think that sharing some minimal facts with the Board of Supervisors would have been appropriate. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. DA.
Thank you all.
We still have another resolution, I believe.
He has another resolution to accept a grant.
Gotten the opportunity to accept $200,000 from DCJS. And I would respectfully request of the committee that it authorize the board to accept that money.
I'll move it.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. DA, this is for the discovery money?
It is, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Sheriff is next.
Good evening, everyone. My first resolution is for the corporal's position. I have Tracy Proper's retiring. I'm requesting position to refill that position along with any backfills. This is a budgeted and approved position.
Make the motion, Hoatland.
Second, Fury.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The second resolution, I'm requesting permission to fill a vacant, soon to be vacant, correction officer position due to a retirement. Gary Rossman, after many years, is retiring, and I wish him all the best.
Move
I'll
it.
move it, Morel.
Second, Kippy.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
The third it's a general resolution to enter back into an agreement with all the schools in the county for our school resource deputy program. Taconic Hills, Ichabod, Germantown, Hudson, and New Lebanon, Chatham and New Lebanon School District. It's the same contract as before, just renewing it on a yearly basis.
I'll move it, Piori.
Second, Ligonia.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
The next general resolution is authorization for 3 of our sheriff's vehicles to be declared surplus property and be sent to county auction. They're in pretty bad shape, so I don't know if we can repurpose them or not.
Morel.
Second, Hoatling.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And the last resolution I'm bringing up is, it's kind of an interesting one, and I'll give you a brief Cliff Note version on it. Back in 2019, we worked very close with the Hudson Promise neighborhood and Joni Hunt. And we've got the Children of Incarcerated Parents program that we started up when I became sheriff. Joni put in for a grant back in 19, and out of the 7 recipients nationwide, we were one of them. So basically, we've got 500 and just don't want to give you a wrong number here. $505,230 that Joni can use, as well as I can use for education, for training other sheriff's offices and other places where there's facilities on our Children of Incarcerated Parents program, and as well as equipment and supplies. This is something that needs to be done in order to start spending down this money. And again, COVID basically put us on a hold. That's why we're coming to you with it now. And I'm requesting that you authorize this grant.
Move it, Hoatling.
Second, Ligonia.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
We have a raised hand from Ron Caponera.
Ron?
Yeah, Sheriff, just have to get together. You've got to give a revenue and expenditure account. It really should be done a financial resolution to adjust our budget.
Yeah,
That's
I think they might have that. I'll get in touch with you. I'll try and give you a shout tomorrow. Ron.
Yeah, let me know tomorrow.
Yeah, because the money's in
Okay.
from the feds, but I'll give you a shout tomorrow.
All right.
Thanks, Ron. And then the only other thing, and I apologize, I did not have it on the agenda. Real quick, I wanted to just commend all of the men and women involved in the large-scale search that everybody saw that we had a few weeks ago for an individual. We had our forest rangers. They are just a phenomenal resource. State police. We had the marshals involved. We had air units, ground units, dogs, and ultimately the individual was found safe down in Dutchess County. But it's a real credit to our community of everybody working together. And I just wanted to let all of you know that.
Very
Thanks,
good,
Sheriff.
Jeff.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, Sheriff.
Public Defender?
Hello. I have 4 resolutions tonight to request and my report. The first resolution, I'm requesting permission to fill a vacancy of clerk typist. I had a clerk typist resign a few weeks back. She accepted a job as the Greenport town clerk.
I'll move that.
Yeah, and it's fully funded by the ILS grant.
Second, Kippy.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. Second request is permission to fill a vacant position of assistant public defender. This individual took a job in the private sector, I believe towards the end of September last year, because of financial considerations with, for the county during really the heart of COVID. I chose not to refill it at that time. Plus the courts were largely closed. Obviously now the courts have largely reopened. There's a great backlog, and I'm looking to refill that vacancy. Again, that is fully funded by the ILS grant.
Move it Hoatling.
Second,
Second.
Mettler.
Okay.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. If I could, that is, as you said, it's 100% funded. We will
Yes.
have to amend the budget,
Right.
but since it's 100%, it won't have an impact.
Correct. Thank you, Chairman. The third resolution is seeking permission to employ a part-time unpaid law student for the summer of 2021. And they will work under the supervision, obviously, of myself and two more senior level assistant public defenders. The assistance is obviously great for my office, and a young individual gets an opportunity to learn more about, the profession they may enter in the future.
I'll move it, Morel.
I'll second it, Mettler.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. And finally, two of my four nighttime, or I should say off-hour CAFA attorneys offered their resignation last week, which is permitted under the contract as long as they give 30-day notice. So I'm going to be down, I'm going to be down from four positions to two in a few weeks here. And I need to have authorization to advertise and refill those positions. Again, these are fully funded by the ILS and paid by the state, because the state's now requiring any unrepresented defendant to have an attorney at their arraignment with them.
Move it Hoatling.
Second, Buren.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed?
And then on to the report. Our May 2021 applications are continuing to rise, up 175, which is in line with the 2019 applications. We didn't have numbers kept in May of 2020 because of the lockdown. Total, as I said, 175 applications. Our active caseload is 1,639. As far as arraignments, me and my staff did 97 in May, and the CAFA attorneys did 18. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
(911)
Good evening, everyone. I have two resolutions for you tonight. Both involve our radio project. And for those that are not familiar with the radio project involves mitigating our gaps in our coverage for EMS, fire, 911, the sheriff's office, and DPW. It also involves implementing the national interoperable communications platform channels in the event that we have a natural disaster or an event where other resources come in from out of the area that don't operate on the same platform as we do. And earlier, I had submitted two resolutions to enter into an agreement in two locations that ultimately I'm going to request to rescind tonight. So the first resolution is authorization to place a communication site at the Gallatin Convenience Station on Route 82 in the township of Gallatin. And I'm going to request to rescind the resolution 79-2020 due to failure to come to terms. And we'd like to add the site here, even though it's not as good as the original proposed site. We're going to lose a little coverage, but this way we ensure trying to make up some of our gaps. The communication sites are fully funded by a interoperable communications grant for $3.5 million, of which we have about $2.5 million left. Unfortunately, it expires at the end of the year. I have submitted for an extension request, but I would like to move the location to this so we can ensure moving forward.
Move it, Weigelt.
Second, Deering.
Okay, Rob, so you just couldn't come to terms with the other,
No, and that is what occurred at the second resolution that I'll present as well. Varying differences from both sites, but basically verbally we came to terms, but the written contract we couldn't execute.
and there's sufficient room, you already know about the Gallatin site?
We've looked at the site. We can fit it in with what's there. We'll just have to do some coordinating and talking with that department as well as any other thing.
Okay.
Hey, Rob, that does save us some money, right?
Yeah, so we originally had presented the other contracts with a monthly lease that would, had, escalations in it. So we'll save on that. We don't have to worry about that. And if we should get any other tenants aboard, the income incurred would be 100% the county's to offset the costs.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. The second one is the same thing, other than the location. I would like to request authorization to enter into either an intermunicipal lease or a lease agreement with the town of Chatham for land pending the town approval. Again, it's for the same thing. It's for a communication site to replace one that we couldn't come to terms. And in that same resolution, I request to rescind resolution 78-2020.
Move it, Houghton.
Sorry, go ahead. I'll second it.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Could I just ask a quick question? This is Ray Stats. I'm just curious, when I threw the fit, when we were going through these contracts last year, why these other options weren't thrown out there when I said this is absolutely going to cost the county a fortune. I'm just wondering why we didn't have these options back then, and we do now.
They were options. In going through, we wanted to get the best sites to give us the best coverage, the largest coverage area. Each time we selected something else, it would actually reduce the coverage or the footprint that would provide us the greatest coverage. These were available. These were looked at in the beginning, but like I said, we're losing 25% of the coverage. And when you go on, work on a project, you want the best coverage you can for the least amount of sites. And that's what we were trying to achieve. Even though the cost was there, we felt like it was still a better product at the end than what we're going to end up with. It doesn't mean that I'm not saying that this is going to benefit us, but it just was worth paying the extra money to have that extra coverage that we would have achieved.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
What's happening with the Igers site? Igers, I never.
Currently, the footings have been completed, and they're just waiting construction of the replacement tower.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I have a question after hearing Supervisor Stat's question, just because I wasn't here on the board when what he's talking about occurred. Didn't I understand correctly? I heard Supervisor Stat say that this is going to cost the county a ton of money, but didn't I understand correctly that there's $3.5 million that we've only used $1 million of, and we only have to the end of the year to use it? So this is actually not coming from the county's budget?
The previous sites that were selected we were going to incur a lease cost each month to the property owner. And that's what Supervisor Stats was referring to. We're now on, requesting for county property and town property to mitigate that. So his was solely on the lease cost.
Got it. And that doesn't exist with these new sites?
Not currently, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Rob, you have your report. Do you want to go over that?
Yes. Our agency data for May of 2021, our incoming call volume was 4,189 calls. In May of 2021, we dispatched 1,289 EMS agencies. We dispatched and notified 920 fire agencies and 2,070 police polls, and we had 520 public service calls. And that is all I have.
Okay, thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
EMS.
All right. I just want to pipe in a little bit what Rob was talking about, and so that Ray understands. In the world of emergency services, everything is totally dependent on communication. When we're in the bowels of Gallatin or in the upper New Lebanon area, historically there's been, and especially in the Red Rock areas, historically there's been some communication problems whereby emergency services, whether it's fire, police, or EMS, has not been able to communicate. And those are the particular reasons why when Rob talks about a 25% less, ability to be able to, for that site, understand that it is a secondary site, but that's why he was choosing to go for the primary site, which would give us a little bit better coverage. So it was extremely important to be able to do that, but just didn't work out. So I just want everybody to understand that, especially in a world now of EMS, okay? We're heading towards what they refer to as community paramedicine and telemedicine. We will need the ability to be able to communicate with doctors online. It'll be through use of tablets or other electronic devices that will be from the home. And if they don't have that ability, it'll actually affect patient care. So it's an important aspect all the way around. So that was a sidebar. I'm sorry, but I had to comment on that. What I really just wanted to update the committee on, the staffing of EMS throughout this COVID process. We did quite well with all the EMS agencies. We had a very, very low rate of absenteeism, which was about 3 to 5%, which was phenomenal. But we're entering a phase now of having some staffing problems due to staffing shortages. You're all seeing on television that there's shortages across all professions. Well, EMS is just one of them. Chatham in particular at the moment is having a staffing shortage, a severe staffing shortage. Some of the supervisors on the committee here, myself, and some other people from the village of Chatham met with Chatham Rescue Squad, I believe it was last week, Rob, and to listen to their problems and see if we couldn't help out and come up with some solutions. Obviously, it's not an easy situation. Fatigue, we call it now in the world of EMS, we're calling it COVID fatigue. These EMS individuals are operating at in a very challenging environment with high levels of stress and burnout. And for the agencies in particular, it's presenting challenges in recruiting new individuals. So it is not just in Columbia County, it is across the nation. So we're dealing with that. We are trying to work with them. We have an EMS advisory board meeting next Monday. I had offered the solution of maybe the possibility of putting another ambulance in their district when they're going to be extremely short-staffed, contracting with an agency to do that. And that could be a possible solution, but we'll work on that. The other thing that we're looking at right now is obviously we're working with and looking at vendors for telemedicine. I think that telemedicine will be an integral part of EMS as we move forward. The question now is reimbursement rates back to the EMS field, back to the agencies, and that's many of these telemarketers. It's at the early stages and haven't engaged in that yet, but I think we're inching closer to one. The other thing is that the EMT classes now are starting to fill up in the Albany area and Remo. Their classes are full. We just graduated a class in Columbia County at the new training site. There was a holdover actually from last year during COVID, and we've immediately started a new class with 12 new people starting in that class. So hopefully, things will turn. But in the meantime, we're working with the issues and trying to solve the problems. And I know Mike and Rob Lagonia were in that meeting as well. I don't know if you have anything else to add.
I would just add that it's pretty eye-opening to see what's going on with EMS. And these are, matter of fact, the Chatham Village rescue squad serves many towns, and they've had times where they can't staff their ambulances. So that's very concerning for me as town supervisor in Austerlitz. We have a contract with them, and they don't have enough people, and the ones that they do have are working extended shifts. So our concern is that there may be times where they can't service our towns, which then they would have to call somebody else, and it could be several minutes difference between getting somebody to a dire situation. So I think, I know we've talked about this at the county level too, but I think it's pretty eye-opening. I think we have to really discuss this, further. Not sure what we can do as a county, but I do think we have to talk about it because it's real, it's happening, and we're talking about people's lives. So I appreciate the meeting that we did have, and so that's really all I have to add at this point. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we've dealt with the issue with the fire departments. I mean, to a certain extent, still dealing with that issue, but that program that we came up with as far as advertising and trying to recruit, it worked pretty well actually. So if we discussed if we could do something similar for EMS, hopefully that might help out too with recruitment and retention. Lot of factors, but both with EMS and fire, it's an ongoing issue, serious one.
Rob Beery has his hand up.
Who pays for these classes for these EMS students? The EMT students, excuse me.
Rob, as long as they're affiliated with an agency, there's no charge because we get reimbursed from the state at about $750 a person. However, we do have individuals that have come into the class and they'll pay their way through.
Okay, I was wondering if we have some kind of an incentive we could do with that, but it sounds like that's already taken care of.
Yeah, pretty much. If there is a problem, we do work with the individual on that. So money truly is not an object. We'll take anybody we can get, just get them through.
Do any of these people who walk through the door, PJ, to take the class and not affiliated with an agency, do they ultimately become affiliated with one of these agencies?
Yeah, most of them that become EMTs, they either volunteer for a fire department or most of them now are going on for a career. It's a beginning stage, and they will affiliate with an agency. And however, some the agencies that we have in Columbia County now, if one of these individuals goes to the agency and kind of commits to say, hey, you know, I'll work for you when I get out. Many of the agencies will sponsor them.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
One of the concerns and questions came up is what are they making? And that's obviously a concern with every industry, every business. And so we talk about, we have to raise the price. We have to charge more, higher minimum wage. It's not working. We can say this all you want. We could say, $15 an hour. Well, $15 an hour in today's world is low. You could say, well, we got to pay 20. Well, people aren't working for 20. So we asked the EMS department, what are other departments paying? There's one other department, if I recall, is paying $20 or $25 an hour. They're hurting for people. So it's not a money issue in reference to salary. It's a cultural issue. It's an issue just right now we're going through in this country where people just don't want to work. They don't want to get involved. And that's really the elephant in the room. We can talk all you want about giving people $30 an hour. It's not bringing people in. There's got to be other things, other reasons that people want to work and want to join these, these agencies, which are obviously we need desperately. So, some more discussion, a bigger discussion about this. We talked about it last night in my committee in reference to AIDS. Give them $20 an hour. That's not the answer. I'm sorry. So it's just a much bigger discussion that has to take place. Here's not the time or the place, but I just want to make sure everybody knows what's going on.
Tistria.
Yeah, PJ. So excuse my ignorance on this, but can you give me an overall? Let's just say that I wanted to be an EMT and I wanted to work for Chatham Rescue. One, do I need any sort of pre-degree? Do I need to have a bachelor's? Do I need to have some training in something? Or can I just walk in, no prior experience, take the training, and become a paid EMT? And if that is the case, how long from when I walk to you and say I want to be an EMT to becoming an actual paid EMT for, say, Chatham Rescue?
Well, basically, you'd have to take an EMT course, and the course is about 110 hours long. It's taught like one night a week and a Saturday every week. And upon completion of that course, you would have to test out with New York State, which includes a practical test as well as a written test. After that, you could go to an agency, and the agencies in Columbia County would obviously not just throw you on the ambulance, but you would pair it up with somebody as a learning curve in the beginning. And quite frankly, New York State has lowered the age for EMTs down to 17. And we're teaching it now that we're in our second year of teaching it at Questar. So I'm hoping that to get some results out of that. We did last year. We got a few out of Questar. And so I think it's encouraging.
And so through Questar, I'd imagine you're working with the high schools, even students that might be through the Questar program of like the guidance counselors. Here's a great career. You don't need to go to college. You can jump right in and start the training. Okay.
That's correct. That's correct.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, PJ.
That's
Wait,
it, Chairman. Yeah,
Is that it?
that's it.
I'll take a motion to adjourn if anybody's so inclined.
I'll make that
So-
motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Enjoy the evening. It's beautiful.